Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if this is your first time of visiting this channel, I would like you to hit the subscribe button and don't forget to smash the notification bell so that whenever I post a new video you will get notified as soon as possible. Alright, so generally the month of March hasn't been good. Alright, yes, we saw some positive trades happening. That was the first week of March, but from the second week of March till now, things hasn't been so good. All right, yes, things hasn't been so good, and I mean it's good. It's good because in as much as you are in this industry, you don't always have to expect good weeks. All right, there are some weeks that will go bad for you. There are some months that go bad for you. All right, now when these months, when you have these bad months, bad weeks, that is where you learn. All right, that is where you try to find out why you made that losses. And if you really sit down critically to ask yourself questions, you'll be able to know the reason why you made those losses and all that. And I mean, after sitting down to analyze why I made those losses, I've been able to take notice the reason why those losses came. All right, so in this situation, I just put it in my journal. The following year, things are going to repeat itself again. All right, the market repeats itself. So the following year, I know that okay, going into the following year, March wasn't a good week for me. All right, or March wasn't a good month for me. Then I know how to structure my things. All right, that is how you should behave as a trader if you really want to get to the top there. All right, so that is that for the month of March. All right, we are entering into the last week of March. Yes, we are entering into the last week of March. Then we enter into April. All right, so I want us to look at what the market has for us entering into the last week of March. And don't forget to next week too is NFP. All right, next week is NFP, so be very cautious as to how you take your trades on the market. And if you don't know too, April is the last month of the first quarter. All right, we are also entering into the last month of the first quarter. So I mean, there's a whole lot of things that are going to happen. All right, there's a whole lot of things that are going to happen. So just be very cautious on the market. All right, yeah. So that is just so let's look at what is happening on the dollar index. All right, so last week I told you that I don't want to see price break this high. All right, I don't want to see price break this high, and going into that week, we just saw price moving up. All right, I was expecting these lows to be broken, but at the moment these lows still haven't been broken. All right, but looking at how Friday's candle closed, it came down. We saw that some rejection to the upside, so I wouldn't be surprised going into next week if we see a draw on liquidity in this area. All right, if we see price grab this liquidity before we see price moving to a downside. Right? I'm still bearish on the dollar index. All right, I'm still bearish on the dollar index. But going into next week, I'm really sure. All right, looking at how price closed on Friday, I'm so sure we are going to see a draw on liquidity. All right, price is likely to get this liquidity, this liquidity before we see price moving to the downside. All right, but at the moment we can see price in a consolidation. All right, it has been in consolidation for a while now, and once these things happen, it should tell you that reversal is about to set in, and so market makers are now accumulating orders. All right, yeah, so that is just that on the dollar index. I'm bearish on the dollar index. Look at what is happening on EURUSD. All right, so EURUSD, the dollar index, they have what opposite interpretation. That yes, they have opposite interpretation. You get it? Yes. So if I'm bearish on the dollar index, I should be bullish on EURUSD. So take note of that. All right. So the same expectation I'm having on, like, that is an opposite expectation. That is what I'm having on EURUSD. All right. So last week we saw price trying to move toward to the upside, but sounded a bit about consolidation. All right. We saw price reject, came down, reject, came down again, rejected, and look at how price closed on Friday. look at how price closed on Friday. Let's zoom into the 4-hour time frame to see things clearer for ourselves. Yeah, let's quickly look at what is happening on the 4-hour time frame. So this is what is happening in the 4-hour time frame. So currently we can see some little bit of accumulation. All right, we can see some little bit of accumulation on the 4-hour time frame. All right, so whatever you are seeing here is liquidity, but which going into next week, price is likely to come and then clear all these liquidity before we see that upside movement. All right, and I mean Friday too is NFP, so we are likely to see them use the NFP to clear this liquidity before we see price move to the upside. All right, yeah, so I'm bullish on EURUSD going into next week. All right, so that is my expectation on EURUSD. But look at this zone here. All right, I'll be placing in more orders if I should see price break this zone, come back here and retest, and we further move to the upside. All right, that is going to be my real confirmation that clearly price is ready to move to the upside. That's if I should see a break above this zone, then we see price come back and then we see a continuation to the upside. So that is my expectation on EURUSD. Let's look at what is happening on GBPUSD. For GBPUSD, I'm not going to spend so much time here. I wouldn't even talk about it, all right, because I've purposely or I've specially done a top-down analysis. All right, so you check the description box below. The link is there. Just click on it and then watch it. All right, I've done a top-down analysis from the monthly time frame to the 4-hour time frame. All right, yes, I've done a top-down analysis on GBPUSD. So just check through the description box below, click on the link, and then go watch the top-down analysis. All right, it is actually a swing trade, so you wouldn't want to miss the top-down analysis. All right, so go and then watch it. Let's look at what is happening on GBPJPY. All right, for a while now we've seen so much weakness on the yen pair. All right, for a while now we've seen so much weakness on the yen pair. All right, yes, and look at what happened. All right, you saw a massive impulse to the upside. All right, GBPJPY on a higher time frame is still bullish. All right, GBPJPY on a higher time frame is still bullish. Yes, but we have to see some little bit of retracement. I'm expecting to see some little bit of retracement before we continue that bullishness. All right, yes, so going into next week, I will expect to see price break this low. All right, once it breaks this low, then I'm in for sales. Let's look at what is happening for 4-hour. Let's look at what is happening. So once I see price break this low, come back for a retest, then I'm in for a sell to grab all this liquidity down here. All right, I'm in for sell to grab all these sell side liquidity. So that is my expectation on GBPJPY going into next week. Let's quickly look at what is happening on NZDJPY. Let's look at what is happening on NZDJPY. So GBPJPY, NZDJPY, similar plan. All right, similar plan. In as much as the yen pair has been weak, so weak for a while now, clearly NZDJPY would have moved to the upside. So just as we've seen, we have seen a really massive impulse move to the upside, and then this is how Friday's candle closed. All right, this is how Friday's candle closed. And so going into next week, I'm really expecting to see some bearish movements on NZDJPY. But let's just quickly look at the monthly time frame and see what is happening on the monthly time frame. So just as you can see, price is currently at this zone. All right, this is where price is currently. All right, so I call this a breaker block. All right, price is currently at a bearish breaker block. All right, price is currently at a bearish breaker block, even though we are seeing a long-term bullishness on NZDJPY, price is currently at a bearish breaker. All right, and so we are expecting to see some little bit of retracement to this area. All right, to this old high. All right, once this high has been broken, we expect to see price come back to this area, and then you see price push to the upside. All right, yeah. So now that we've seen what is happening on the higher time frame, let's narrow down to the 4-hour and then see what is also happening on the 4-hour. All right, let's see what is happening on the 4-hour. Yes, so going into next week, I'll expect to see price break this low and come back for a retest. Then I'll look for sell opportunities to grab some sell side liquidity going into next week. All right, yes. So my point of interest is going to be this low. Once I see a break in this low, then definitely we are likely to see those sells. But once price breaks this high and it doesn't come back to this area again, then clearly the buys on NZDJPY continues. All right, so that is my expectation on NZDJPY going into next week. Let's look at what is happening on AUDJPY. All right, let's look at what is happening on AUDJPY. So NZDJPY, AUDJPY, similar plan. All right, yes, NZDJPY and then AUDJPY have similar plans with them. So let's look at what is happening on AUDJPY. So we've seen the same massive impulse move to the upside. All right, yes, and this is how Friday's candle closed. All right, this is how Friday candle closed. It is giving us some sort of signal that we are likely to see some sells going into next week. So going into next week, before I take any sells, I want to see price break this low. All right, I want to see price break this low. Once that low is broken, that is going to be a catalyst for me to be placing some sell entries to target some sell side liquidities. All right, yes, to target some sell side liquidities going into next week. All right, so going into next week, this is my expectation on AUDJPY. Let's look at what is happening on AUDUSD. All right, let's look at what is happening on AUDUSD. Let's look at what is happening on AUDUSD. If you could remember, I told you, I gave you my expectation on the dollar index, and I was expecting bearish prices. All right, now the odd is paired with the USD. All right, so in correlation wise, if I'm expecting bearishness on the dollar index, I should expect bullishness on the Aud USD. All right, but currently look at what is happening on Aud USD. It is not giving us that correlation confirmation. All right, it is not really giving us that correlation confirmation. So going into next week, I will just shift the correlation confirmation somewhere and then focus fully on price action. All right, focus fully on price, because price action is telling us a different story, and so I need to strictly go by price action. All right, so currently we are seeing some sort of consolidation in here. All right, or accumulation. All right, price is currently accumulated. All right, and after accumulation, the next thing we want to see is manipulation. Then after the manipulation, then we see distribution. All right, so currently I'm waiting to see that manipulation happening. All right, manipulation simply means a fake out. That is that. All right, fake out is the same as manipulation, so just get it. So I'm waiting for that fake out. That is going to be the first move out of the consolidation. Once the consolidation is done, the first move out of the consolidation is going to be my manipulation. Then I can anticipate where the distribution is going to go at. All right, so I'm open. All right, I don't really have one directional bias on Aud USD, looking at correlation wise and looking at what is happening on the price chart. All right, I'm just waiting for that manipulation to happen. Once the manipulation happens, it's going to tell me as whether price is going to move to the upside or to the downside. So that is my expectation on Aud USD. Let's quickly look at what is happening on NZDUSD. All right, AUD USD, NZDUSD, they have some similarities, but something slightly different is happening on NZDUSD. Let's quickly look at it. All right, let's quickly look at what is happening on NZDUSD. Yeah, so this is what is happening on NZDUSD. So realize that NZDUSD is conforming with the dollar index correlation wise. All right, yes, the AUD USD in terms of correlation was not conforming, but looking at NZDUSD, we are seeing that correlation confirmation in here. All right, yes, so going into next week, I will expect to see price retrace to this order block. All right, order flow on NZDUSD is bullish. All right, the order flow is very bullish and it's so clear. So going into next week, I want to see price retrace to this order block we are seeing here. Then we see price move to the upside. All right, targeting these highs. All right, so this high is going to be my first target. So going into next week, I'm bullish on NZDUSD. Let's quickly look at what is happening on EURUSD. Let's look at what is happening on EURUSD. All right, yeah, let's look at what is happening. All right, for EURUSD, we've seen a very bearish sentiment. All right, on the market, we've seen a very bearish sentiment. So let's quickly look at a monthly time frame. All right, let's quickly look at a monthly time frame and then see where price is really getting to. All right, from there we can decide on what to do. All right, yes, so currently this is where price is really heading to. All right, these bearish blocks. All right, these bearish candles we are seeing here. So I'm expecting price to at least go further before we see reversal on the market. All right, yes, so the EURUSD is still looking bearish. All right, it's looking bearish. So going into next week, for me to really confirm that yes, the bearish is going to continue, I want to see price break this low. All right, I want to see price break this low. Once this low is broken, then definitely we are going to get to this area before we see that very bullishness happening. All right, before we see that reversal happening on the market. All right, so going into next week, I want to see this low broken. All right, I want to see once this low breaks, I'm going to look for sell opportunities on EURUSD. All right, I'm going to look for sell opportunities on EURUSD. So going into next week, that is my expectation on EURUSD. Let's look at what is happening on EURJPY. All right, that is the last pair but not the least on our list. All right, so let's quickly look at what is happening on EURJPY. Let's look at what is happening. All right, yes, so this is what is happening on EURJPY. All right, so GBPJPY, EURJPY. All right, they move in the same direction. All right, or you can say they are positively correlated pairs. All right, they are positively correlated pairs. All right, but we've seen this massive impulse move to the upside. All right, and this is how Friday's candle closed. All right, yes, so going into next week, I'll really be expecting to see some lower prices on EURJPY. All right, yes, I want to see some lower prices in form of retracement. All right, so before I take any sell on this pair, I'm going to see price. I want to see price break this low. All right, once this low is broken, this area is going to be my first target, and then I'll look forward to see where price is going to, as to whether it's continue to the downside. All right, as to whether it's going to continue to the downside. All right, so going into next week, that is my expectation on EURJPY. Okay guys, so that is that going into next week. These are the pairs I'm going to look at going into next week. All right, so if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please again, all right, just hit the subscribe button. All right, that is a way to I mean, show your appreciation. All right, I know you've benefited a lot from this channel. All right, right from January till now, we've really made good amount of pips on the market. All right, and so if you haven't subscribed, just do me that favor by clicking the subscribe button and smash the notification bell. All right, yes, and you're not part of my Telegram community, so just look through the description box below. The link is there. Just click on it and become part of the Flux Forex community. All right, yeah, so I wish you all good luck and good training going into next week. I'll come your way again next week. Bye.